In a time long before the world was crowded with cities and nations, two brothers, Cain and Abel, lived under the vast open skies. They were the sons of Adam and Eve, the first humans to walk the earth, and they carried the burden of their parents' exile from Eden. Life outside the garden was harsh, but it was theirs to shape, a world of toil and hope, struggle and faith. Cain, the elder, was a man of the soil. His hands were calloused from tilling the earth, coaxing life from its reluctant embrace. Rows of crops stretched under his care, a testament to his labor and perseverance. Abel, the younger, was a shepherd, a keeper of flocks. He roamed the hills with his sheep, finding joy in their bleats and the whisper of the wind through the grass. The brothers were different in many ways, but they shared one unshakable bond: their devotion to the Creator who had formed their parents from dust and breath. It was customary for them to offer sacrifices to God as a sign of gratitude and reverence. And so, the day came when both brothers prepared their offerings. Cain gathered the fruits of his harvest: golden wheat, ripe figs, and plump grapes. His basket overflowed with the best of his labor. Abel, meanwhile, selected the finest lamb from his flock, a firstborn without blemish, and prepared it for the altar. Each approached their place of offering, hearts beating with anticipation. As the sun dipped low on the horizon, their offerings lay before God. Smoke curled into the heavens, carrying their prayers and hopes. But then, the unthinkable happened. God looked upon Abel and his offering with favor, but Cain's offering was not accepted. The air grew heavy with unspoken tension. Cain's heart twisted with confusion and jealousy. Why Abel? Why his offering? The question burned within him, igniting a flame of anger that he could not extinguish. God, in his wisdom, spoke to Cain. Why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it. Cain heard the words but could not quiet the storm within. Resentment gnawed at his soul, twisting every thought. He avoided his brother's gaze, yet the sight of Abel's serene face only deepened the wound. Days passed, but Cain's anger grew until it consumed him entirely. One morning, as the sun painted the fields in golden light, Cain called to Abel, "Brother, come with me to the fields." Abel, trusting and unassuming, followed without question. They walked in silence, the familiar sound of the wind filling the space between them. Suddenly, Cain turned on Abel with a fury that had been building for days. In a moment of blind rage, he struck his brother down. The earth, once so fertile and alive under Cain's hands, now drank the blood of Abel. Silence fell, heavier than ever before. Cain stood over his brother, his chest heaving. The enormity of what he had done pressed down on him. He was alone now, utterly and irreversibly alone. Then God's voice came, thundering yet sorrowful. "Cain, where is your brother Abel?" Cain's voice trembled as he replied, "I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" But God's reply was unyielding. "What have you done?" "Listen, your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Now you are under a curse and driven from the ground, which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood. When you work the ground, it will no longer yield its crops for you. You will be a restless wanderer on the earth." Cain fell to his knees, the weight of his punishment crushing him. "My punishment is more than I can bear," he pleaded. "Today you are driving me from the land, and I will be hidden from your presence. I will be a restless wanderer, and whoever finds me will kill me." But God, even in his judgment, showed mercy. "Not so. Anyone who kills Cain will suffer vengeance 7 times over." And the Lord marked Cain, so that no one would harm him. Then Cain went out from the Lord's presence and lived in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain's story became a somber echo through the ages, a cautionary tale of jealousy, anger, and the devastating consequences of letting sin take root. And yet, in the shadow of his exile, there was a thread of grace, a reminder that even in humanity's darkest moments, God's mercy endures.